At a well-known university, Professor Harris was famous for his thought-provoking classes that often left students thinking deeply long after the lecture ended. One day, as the students settled into their seats, they noticed something unusual on their desks. A small, sealed envelope with their names on it. "Today," Professor Harris began, "we're going to solve a puzzle. But first, please open the envelopes in front of you." The students eagerly tore open their envelopes, revealing a single jigsaw puzzle piece inside. The pieces were all different colors and shapes, and each student had no idea what their piece was supposed to be a part of. Confused, one student raised her hand. "Professor, how are we supposed to solve a puzzle with just one piece?" Professor Harris smiled. "That's the challenge. Right now, each of you only has a fragment of the whole picture. I want you to spend the next 20 minutes walking around the room, finding others who have pieces that connect to yours. Work together to figure out what the full picture might be." The students exchanged puzzled glances but got up and started mingling, comparing their pieces with others. Some quickly found matches, while others struggled, walking around the room, hoping to find a fit. As time passed, groups began to form, piecing together sections of the puzzle. Yet, there were still gaps, and not all pieces seemed to fit perfectly. Just as they were starting to make progress, the lights in the room flickered and went out. The room plunged into darkness, and the students gasped, their work abruptly interrupted. After a moment of silence, Professor Harris's voice cut through the darkness. "Life is unpredictable," he said. "Sometimes, just when we think we're making progress, something unexpected happened. What do you do now?" A voice from the back responded, "We should keep going. Even if we can't see, we can still work together to find the right pieces." Encouraged by the response, the students began to work together in the dark. They used their memory, their sense of touch, and their trust in each other to try and connect the remaining pieces. After what felt like an eternity, the lights suddenly flickered back on. The students looked down at the puzzle they had been working on, only to find it wasn't a typical picture. Instead, it was a series of symbols, abstract and cryptic. "Professor," a student exclaimed, "what does this mean? This isn't a picture at all." Professor Harris stepped forward, examining their work. "What you've put together," he began, "is a representation of how we often approach problems in life. Each of you started with just one piece, a small part of a much larger picture. Alone, it made no sense, but together, you began to see the bigger picture." He continued, "But then, when you thought you were getting close, the lights went out. Just like life often throws obstacles in our way when we least expect it. Yet, despite the darkness, you kept going. You adapted, relied on each other, and didn't give up." The professor then revealed the final twist. These symbols, they represent the values we often overlook when we focus too much on the pieces we don't understand. They stand for patience, teamwork, resilience, and trust. This puzzle wasn't about finding a clear picture. It was about understanding that even when the outcome isn't what we expected, the process teaches us something far more valuable. The students were silent, reflecting on the experience. They realized that while they had been focused on solving the puzzle, they had learned lessons about life itself. Professor Harris finished with a smile. "Remember, in life, you won't always have all the pieces, and sometimes the lights will go out. But if you keep moving forward, trusting yourself and those around you, you'll find that the journey itself is the true reward, even if the final picture isn't what you imagined." Life's challenges often come with unexpected twists, and we rarely have the whole picture from the start. But by trusting the process, working together, and adapting to the unforeseen, we discover that the journey is just as important, if not more so, than the destination.